Neighbors soon gathered near the edge of the woods, whispering in shock and disbelief. Sarah's husband, David, was brought to the hospital where she had been taken, his face pale and etched with worry. The police sealed off the woods as a crime scene, promising the community they would find answers. But as the sun set over Cedar Grove, an unsettling question hung in the air. If Sarah survived a knife to the brain, what other secrets did this dark day hold? The search for the truth was only just beginning. Sarah's arrival at the hospital marked the beginning of a battle against time and the impossible. The medical team immediately rushed her into emergency surgery, fully aware that the knife embedded in her forehead was in a delicate and dangerous position. The blade had pierced through critical parts of her brain, and removing it without causing irreversible damage required extraordinary skill and precision. For hours, the surgeons worked under intense pressure, carefully navigating the knife's path through her skull. Despite the severity of the injury, Sarah clung to life, her body fighting against the odds in a way that baffled everyone present. Meanwhile, back at the Miller home, the police struggled to piece together the puzzle of what had happened. The lack of obvious clues at the scene left investigators frustrated. The muddy footprints leading into the woods were the only trace of the attacker, but they vanished mysteriously near a small creek, as if whoever had been there had disappeared without a trace. Officers retraced their steps, searching for anything that might have been overlooked. Broken branches, discarded items, tire marks, but came up empty-handed. It was as if the assailant had vanished into thin air. Neighbors were questioned, but no one reported seeing anyone suspicious near the Millers' property on the morning Sarah went missing. Some recalled hearing faint noises, a rustling in the trees or a low, desperate cry, but nothing concrete enough to point investigators in a clear direction. The police considered every possibility: an attempted robbery gone wrong, a random act of violence, or perhaps something more personal. Yet, without a motive or suspect, the case was frustratingly open-ended. Sarah remained unconscious for days, trapped inside a fog of confusion and pain. When she finally opened her eyes, the hospital room was silent, except for the steady beeping of machines. Her memory was shattered. She could not remember the attack, who might have hurt her, or even basic details about her life before the incident. The doctors warned her family that memory loss was common after such brain trauma, but they hoped therapy might help her regain some recollections. While Sarah fought to recover, detectives sifted through evidence and followed every lead. They sent the knife to a forensic lab, hoping to find fingerprints or DNA that could identify the attacker. The blade itself was unusual, a handcrafted kitchen knife, rare and distinctive, not something easily found in local stores. This detail gave the investigators a glimmer of hope. Tracking down the knife's origin could open the door to uncovering the truth. Surveillance footage from nearby homes and businesses was reviewed, revealing little except blurry images of vehicles and people who seemed unrelated. The case remained cold, and frustration mounted. The Miller family struggled with uncertainty, their lives forever changed by the violent act. Their once safe and peaceful neighborhood felt foreign and threatening now. As days turned into weeks, Sarah's physical condition stabilized, but the emotional scars remained deep. She faced a long road to recovery, grappling with confusion and fear. Meanwhile, the police continued to dig deeper, determined not to let this case fade into silence. They knew the key to solving this mystery lay buried somewhere in the shadows, waiting to be found. The question was when, and if, they would uncover the shocking truth behind the attack on Sarah Miller. As Sarah's physical health gradually improved, the investigation began to take on new momentum. The forensic team's analysis of the knife revealed something unexpected. The blade was not just any kitchen knife, it was a rare, handcrafted piece made by a local artisan. Only a few of these knives had been sold in the region, and the manufacturer kept records of each purchase. This discovery gave the police a concrete lead. They contacted the artisan and obtained a list of buyers, narrowing the field significantly. One name on the list stood out: Greg Thompson, Sarah's brother-in-law. Greg had a troubled history, marked by past run-ins with the law and known for his aggressive behavior. He had recently been involved in a dispute over a family inheritance, which police saw as a potential motive. The connection shocked the community. Greg was part of the extended family, someone they all thought they knew. But the evidence seemed to point in his direction. Officers visited Greg's home and found that the knife matching the description was missing from his kitchen drawer. When questioned, Greg denied any involvement in Sarah's attack and claimed he had no idea where the knife was. He had no solid alibi for the night of the incident, raising further suspicion. Despite this, there was no direct evidence linking him to the crime scene, no fingerprints or eyewitnesses placing him near the Miller home. The case took a darker turn when police discovered a series of troubling social media messages between Greg and Sarah, revealing escalating tensions and threats. It appeared that Greg harbored deep resentment towards Sarah, blaming her for family disputes. Yet, without a confession or concrete proof, the investigation reached a frustrating dead end. Meanwhile, Sarah's memory remained patchy. Although she was slowly regaining strength, the details of the attack stayed locked away in her mind. She couldn't recall seeing Greg or anyone else that night. This left the police reliant on physical evidence and witness testimonies. Then, a new development complicated the case. Surveillance footage from a gas station on the outskirts of town showed a shadowy figure moving through the woods near the Miller property around the time of the attack. The video was grainy, but the silhouette didn't match Greg's build. Instead, it suggested a second person, a stranger no one had yet suspected. This mysterious figure piqued the detectives' interest. They began investigating recent parolees and known offenders in the area, searching for anyone who might have had a grudge against Sarah or her family. Their attention focused on a man named Jason Reed, Sarah's ex-boyfriend, who had recently been released from prison. Jason had a violent past and was known to hold grudges. Further digging revealed that Jason had been seen near the neighborhood several times in the weeks leading up to the attack. His car was found abandoned miles away, with bloodstains inside matching Sarah's DNA. Police uncovered discarded clothing stained with blood in a nearby dumpster, linking him directly to the crime scene. The discovery of Jason's involvement shifted the entire investigation. It became clear that Greg might have tried to cover up the crime by taking the knife, unaware of Jason's role as the true attacker. The case had evolved from a family dispute to a chilling story of obsession and violence from a man outside the family. With two suspects connected in different ways, the police prepared to unravel the tangled web of deception surrounding Sarah's attack. The discovery of Jason Reed's possible involvement sent shockwaves through the investigation. Police officers intensified their search for him, knowing he was dangerous and had already demonstrated violent tendencies. Jason's past was dark, multiple arrests for assault and stalking, and his release from prison had gone largely unnoticed by the community. It seemed he had quietly returned to the area, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment. As detectives reviewed the evidence, the surveillance footage from the gas station was studied frame by frame. Though the image was grainy, the figure's movements were deliberate, almost predatory. It was clear this person had been following Sarah for some time. The timing of the footage matched eyewitness reports of strange noises near the woods on the night of the attack. Police began piecing together a timeline, realizing Jason had planned the attack carefully, stalking Sarah's routine and waiting for a moment when she was vulnerable. Jason's abandoned car was a crucial breakthrough. It was found hidden in a remote area, doors left open, and inside were blood-stained clothes matching Sarah's DNA. This suggested a violent struggle had taken place nearby. Investigators also uncovered a set of fingerprints on the car's interior, which matched Jason's, confirming his presence. More chilling was the discovery of a knife sheath in the back seat, though the knife itself was missing. This raised the possibility that the weapon used to attack Sarah had been deliberately removed and hidden. Officers expanded their search to areas where Jason might be hiding. They interviewed locals, hoping someone had seen or heard something unusual. A resident reported spotting Jason near an abandoned warehouse days before Sarah was found. Police organized a raid on the warehouse, but Jason had vanished without a trace. It was clear he was aware of the growing investigation and was trying to stay one step ahead. Meanwhile, Greg Thompson's role became clearer. Though he was not the attacker, Greg had panicked after the assault and taken the knife from the scene, hoping to protect himself or mislead the police. His decision to hide the weapon complicated the investigation, but also provided a key piece of evidence that connected him indirectly to the crime. Police charged Greg with tampering with evidence, but he cooperated fully, giving them important information about family tensions and potential threats Sarah had faced. Sarah's condition continued to improve, and with the help of therapists, she began to regain fragments of her memory. While she could not recall the attack itself, she remembered feeling watched and unsafe in the weeks leading up to the assault. This confirmed the theory that she had been targeted long before the violent event. As the manhunt for Jason Reed intensified, police issued alerts to the public, warning residents to be cautious. Jason's obsession had escalated dangerously, and he was considered armed and extremely risky. The community, once peaceful and trusting, was gripped by fear and uncertainty. In a dramatic turn, Jason was finally spotted by a local hiker near the outskirts of town. Officers surrounded the area and, after a tense standoff, arrested him without further violence. He was taken into custody, his silence speaking volumes. The arrest brought a sense of relief, but also raised questions about how someone like Jason had been able to slip back into the community unnoticed. With both suspects now in custody, the police prepared to unravel the full story behind the terrifying attack on Sarah Miller. A story of obsession, fear, and survival that had shocked a town and tested the limits of human endurance. With Jason Reed in custody and Greg Thompson charged with tampering, the investigation moved swiftly toward closure. Jason remained silent during questioning, but the mounting evidence was overwhelming. Forensics had tied him to the crime scene, and the bloodied clothes and abandoned car left little room for doubt. His obsession with Sarah had driven him to commit a brutal and calculated attack, hoping to exact revenge for a perceived betrayal. Though he refused to explain his motives in detail, his criminal record and past behaviors painted a chilling picture of a man consumed by anger and jealousy. Greg, on the other hand, expressed remorse. His actions after the attack, removing the knife and attempting to hide it, stemmed from panic and fear rather than malice. He admitted to his mistakes and cooperated fully with authorities, hoping to support Sarah and her family through the healing process. The family, torn apart by the ordeal, faced a complicated mix of emotions: anger, betrayal, and relief that the nightmare was finally ending. Sarah's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Doctors carefully removed the knife, a process fraught with risk, but ultimately successful. Though she faced months of physical therapy and cognitive rehabilitation, Sarah's spirit remained strong. She showed remarkable resilience, slowly regaining memory and strength day by day. The trauma had changed her, but it did not break her. Her children and husband stood by her side, providing love and support throughout the difficult journey. The community, once paralyzed by fear, rallied around the Miller family, organizing fundraisers and offering help in any way they could. The neighborhood slowly began to heal, with neighbors looking out for one another more closely than ever before. As the legal process unfolded, Jason faced multiple charges, including attempted murder, assault, and stalking. His violent past weighed heavily against him, and prosecutors vowed to seek justice for Sarah and her family. The case became a high-profile example of the dangers of unchecked obsession and the importance of community vigilance. Throughout the ordeal, Sarah remained a symbol of survival. Her story inspired others who had faced trauma, showing that even in the darkest moments, hope and courage could prevail. Though scars remained, both physical and emotional, Sarah's determination to rebuild her life was unwavering. In the end, the case revealed more than just a violent attack. It uncovered hidden tensions within a family, the haunting grip of obsession, and the resilience of a woman who refused to give up. Cedar Grove would never forget the day the police found Sarah alive with a knife stuck in her brain. A story that reminded everyone how fragile life can be and how powerful the will to survive truly is. The investigation closed with a sense of justice served, but also a lasting reminder. Evil can lurk in the most familiar places, and sometimes the greatest battles are fought not just in courtrooms, but inside the hearts of those who endure. Sarah's survival was a testament to strength, and her story a warning to watch carefully for the signs before tragedy strikes.